Welcome to Tisha Talks Topics. I am so excited about our next guest, Victoria. I am so excited to have her on this podcast. I told her I was on her website perusing/stalking her to just find out more about her abundant life and financial coaching, which like even though we're abundant just brings so much like fullness to me. And so I was ecstatic and excited to have her on. Victoria, if you can introduce yourself.
And if you
That
call
would
me
be great.
Danielle, that's
Yeah.
fine. My godparents, they actually call me by my middle name. So when I'm around them, all I hear is Danielle. So
Okay. It
um,
was inspired. That was inspiration. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
so as you mentioned, my name is Victoria Danielle, and I'll kind of give you guys a secret as to why I even go by that. I don't go by my last name. It's because in me coming to, I realized that God was calling me to more than a wife or a mom. And then that Parker, my last name, indicates those titles. And so Victoria Danielle is me outside of those titles. It's me outside of the title of not just wife and mom, but also as a daughter and a grandma. Like, I don't have it's not my maiden name. It's not my married name. It's just me. But what I do is I help other visionary women essentially be able to get their life and their finances in order, where I teach them specific strategies and tools. And there's a whole method that we go through, to get them there so that they're able to walk in purpose, like I said, from a place of abundance, as you mentioned, and from a place of confidence where they're focused, where they're consistent, and also from a place of rest. So that is what I do. And I try to do that, whether it's in my one-on-one coaching or in my group coaching through my 6-month mastermind, or when I give my posts on social media, wherever it is that I speak up, that's what I'm doing.
Right. I love that, Victoria Danielle. I'm thinking like Letitia Darcel.
Come
Like,
on.
I love that concept and that idea because I remember when I was in a place where I was just like, all right, it's got to be more than just mom. Not that that's not bad. I mean, a good thing, but it's got to be more than mom. It's got to be more than wife. It's got to be more than like me working for someone else, like your employee. Like, who is this person
Right.
that God has created? And so I love that. And you might see Letitia Darcel.
Go for it. Listen, go for it. Every time I say it and every time I see it, it's a reminder to myself, that it's a reminder of who I am. So I say go for it.
Girl, you never know. I don't know how my husband might feel about it, but
When I sign my name on legal documents, it still has my last name. This is
but I get it. I completely get it because I think that as women, sometimes we get caught up in the many different roles and hats that we have to wear, and we really forget who we are because we're so
Mhm.
busy giving and pouring out to other people. And it's a great way to bring you back to you, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
exactly.
I might steal it for the record. So, this series that we're in right now, we're talking about embracing purpose. And so, I've talked a little bit about like identifying your passion and learning how to get on the road to understanding what your purpose is. And I promised the listeners that I will have women on who are walking in that, who are fulfilling their purpose call. And so I definitely wanted to have you on, and I wanted to pick your brain about what purpose means to you.
Mhm. Yeah, when I think about purpose, I try to take it to its most simplest form. Purpose is essentially just saying that there's some meaning, that there's some intention there. And so for me, purpose is being able to wake up every day and being able to walk in intention, walk in meaning, and so it is supposed to flow in every aspect of our lives. So there should be intention and meaning in how I parent. So there's a purpose in how I am as a mom and developing my son for, his calling and for what God is going to pull him to as he continues to grow. And then of course there's a purpose in how I show up as a wife and being supportive in that. And just me being me, whether it's me in my home, me in the grocery store, me outside with my neighbors, it's waking up each day with knowing that there is meaning to my life and that everything I do and operate in has intention and not just haphazardly doing it. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in that. It's so easy to just get caught up in the distractions and just doing stuff. We're on automatic. It's, our brains are geared that way. It's just like, when you're driving somewhere, you're supposed to get off. It's like, I'm headed to work. I was supposed to go to the store.
Right.
And so our brains are wired that way. However, God has also created for us to have purpose, and it's supposed to be infused in every aspect of our life. So that's when I think about purpose, that's what I think about.
Yeah, that's great. That's like intentionally living, like
Mm-hmm.
understanding that everything that you've been given in your hands serves a purpose, right?
Right.
And yeah, because I remember a time in my life when I had to stop and figure out exactly what was going on, because I think you said we can get so like on automatic. We can just be going and going and going and just doing stuff. And I remember feeling like I was on this hamster wheel just going around, but like getting nowhere. But your girl was so busy. Like I was doing so. So I think that's a great way to identify purpose as like, being intentional in every area. And so um, as you are walking in your purpose, can you tell us about this abundant life piece? Because I think that is such a loaded word, right? I know it means a lot of different things to me, but I'm curious to hear what abundant living means to you.
Yeah. So for me, because we know that Christ came so that we not only have life but life more abundantly. So that's where that comes from. And so we have to think about it, or at least I know I think about it in the way to which from his life that he lived, an example that we see in the Bible, and then what it is that he says to us. And so for me, having abundance is not so much having this abundance of stuff, stuff that's just for me. Stuff so like, oh my gosh, and not to say that stuff is wrong, just like money, there, the thing is not evil. It's, where your heart is, that's, is what matters. But abundance is being able to be overflowing in all the things that money cannot buy, that only comes through Christ and his spirit and resurrection. Like that's abundance. And so when you are walking intentionally and you are walking in purpose, then you are ultimately doing what he asked you to do. And so he put us all here on a purpose. He says that you're here so that you can honor me and that you can be effective for my kingdom, period. So in everything I do is, am I honoring him and am I being effective for him? And when I do that, then that I'm able to then have an overflow and an abundance and joy in peace. And again, that's what I mean by all those things that money cannot buy.
Right, right.
And happiness, and people have stuff, but then they're still empty.
Mm,
And so abundant living is being able to walk through and appreciate and be grateful for everything. Like Paul says, he's content. He was able to be grateful in knowing how to live a base. I'm at
Mhm.
the bottom,
Mhm.
and when I'm at the top, like, who can say that they can still have joy and peace and not be stressed and not be fatigued and not be, your body all tensed up, mind racing, like all like I
Right.
don't want
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
so that's, for me, that's what abundant living is being able to just soak up the day and soak up the moment and soak up his presence and his spirit, and it's just so overflowing within my own self that I can't help but then show that to other people.
Wow. Wow. So how do you position yourself um to be living a life of abundance? Like what tips and things do you give your clients in order for them to be able to show up in that way?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, there's like a method that I walk through, but I tell people all the time, phase one, and it's not like step one, like, oh, today you got it and you're good. Like, we're going to do this lesson and you're good. No, it's a phase. It might take you one. Some people, it take them a few,
Right.
but Holy Spirit speaks to me and lets me know when it's time to release you to go to phase two. But anyway, but phase one is like how you mentioned, being very clear about who you are and who God made you to be. And so in that phase, it's not just encompassing of, oh, well, I like kids, and so sometimes people run with stuff like that. I used to be a teacher. And so people would run and become teachers. I like kids. And you get in that and you're like, hold up,
I
I'm
don't
not
really like
called
them
to
that
teach.
much, right? I like them when they was over there, but when they're sneezing on me, so
So you find a lot of people in situations and, doing things because they're like, oh, I just like this. But knowing who you are, it's like really understanding yourself through and through, understanding your past, the scars, the blessings, how all of that now plays into your present. um, Getting really clear about, like, one thing that I do with my clients is we get clear about how you even hear from God. There are 4 different ways that we typically hear. And so they get clear about, not to say that he can't speak to you in all 4, what have you, because I'd say for me, it's been mostly 3 out of the 4, but knowing which one is the strongest one so that you can begin to trust that as you walk, because he's
mhm,
always speaking.
mhm. Identify
Um,
it. Yeah.
so that's also part of, like, knowing how he's speaking to you, knowing, how you receive from him. Are you one who is more visual, where he speaks to you through dreams? Are you one who, you are a hearer, where it's almost like you can just hear like this audible voice inside? Sometimes it sounds like your voice, but it's not you, it's him.
Mhm,
Are you one who's a feeler? I know a lot of people who are, and they don't realize, like, that's how God is talking to you. Like,
mm.
especially now with all that's going on, and it's like, there's just someone, I don't know. And I'm like, God is trying to tell you to praise this.
Yes.
Not for you to just lay in the bed and be.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't understand the feeling because, I too am a feeler, but that's one way. And then the other way is like knowing. My husband is a knower. He's not going to say what I feel like God said. He's not going to say that. He's not going to come and say, I hear the voice of the Lord. Like, that, but a lot of times people who are knowers miss that God is speaking to them in that way, because it's like this instant gut feeling, like, I just know, I just know. I can't explain how I know. It's just, I just know.
Wow.
Um, and so, but that is a way that God speaks. And so we go through that. We also get to a space where we declutter. So not just in our physical space, but in our mind, in our emotions, in our finances, we declutter. And then we move into, now that you've now decluttered, you really know who you are, you know who God is calling you to become. Now we can organize some things. Now we can organize, how you spend your time. Because remember, it's about being intentional. And so how are you intentional with your time? How are you intentional with your money? How you're treating your body? How intentional are you with setting aside time for rest? um, and then sustaining. And so it's, making sure that you're at a space to where you definitely know what needs to be in place to sustain you, and then so that you can go. So like, for me, like I know, because I don't, somebody messaged me on the website today asking what's my morning routine. And so it was like, okay, I get up before everybody else does. I get me some tea. I have my devotion time with God. And, then I kind of ease into planning my day. But my mornings, my days have to start off quiet
Mm-hmm.
and, and ease into it. But see, that's because I know
Right.
me. I know what I need and in order for me to be able to, serve at my best. And so I've said a lot, but that's
No,
it's a
I'm
process.
about to take you back because I'm listening.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think that is so important, and coming from like a holistic, it's like you're covering everything, but really knowing and understanding yourself, but also knowing your creator
Yes,
and knowing how to identify when he's telling you to move, right?
yes.
And so I love those four different ways that you can hear from God. I know for me, sometimes I just like know to know, like, I just know, and like, there's no convincing me of anything else. And then definitely dreams, because I feel like God, I'm clear. Like I'm not bottled down with a lot of stuff. God can really speak to me when I'm sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
He has like my full attention because
Yeah,
I'm asleep, right?
yeah.
And then hearing, also I'll hear him say something and I know it's not me. And I learned this from Joyce Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of the times the things that we want to do are not what God wants us to do. And so a lot of I was able to identify when he was speaking to me, because it would be something that I completely would not want to do.
Don't want to do
Like, I
right.
know I need to,
Right.
really? You want me really? Like, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
And the feeling thing, kind of, sort of, I would say that would be for me more in a discernment space, like when
Mm-hmm.
I am in a situation and just kind of discerning like the atmosphere. But I love that because you have to know that, like, about yourself to be able to move and hear him. And so I love the whole morning routine. I think that that is essential. I'm still working on mine.
Yeah.
What I've got down is in the morning, okay, Lord, this is your day, like submitting my
Mm-hmm.
plan
Mm-hmm.
and my
Mm-hmm.
agenda to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And I think that's so key to purpose,
Yeah.
right? Because like you said, we could think that we're supposed to be doing this, that, and the other. And like, I mean, fully executed, be out
Mm-hmm.
in school,
Yeah.
getting degrees.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
then you get up in here and you're like, I hate this. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
really don't like this at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my other question, I think you've already answered. I was going to ask you, how do you help other people walk in their purpose? But I think that you've answered that already with
Yeah, I
setting them
mean,
up.
those are the steps that I take them through so that they can do it. And everyone comes to me in somewhat different phases. So, you'll have some who are kind of already operating or knowing what God is calling them to do, and they've started to step out, but then they just still know that they're just still all over the place. So
Mhm.
it's kind of helping them, okay, let's get these foundations in order. And then I also have some that are like, they don't think they know. I'll put it this way, 100% they know, but they'll come and say they don't think they know what God is calling them
What
to
is
do.
that about? Because I do that too. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Like, I say that all the time. And actually, the Lord was talking to me a couple of days ago. He was like, stop saying you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Like, stop saying that. What do you think that is? What is, I guess, the number one reason why people don't have that clarity?
Um, I think it's the number one reason why I feel like people don't have the clarity is also the number one reason why they don't start. And then they'll say it's clarity. I'm having an issue with clarity, but it's just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd say the number one issue is fear.
Mm.
And almost like its twin is that lack of confidence. So, it could be fearful of, I know for me, I used to always say, but, I don't want to make the wrong move, God. I don't want to go and do something and it's not you. Just so deep with it, right? Just so honorable.
I want to make sure I'm doing the right
Right.
thing, Father, like
Yes.
the right thing. I don't have
I want,
time not to do
right?
the right thing.
When I move, I want to know it's right.
Right.
And but really what it really boiled down to was, I was scared and not trusting that I was hearing correctly. And, still going back to
Mm.
fear
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
am I not hearing correctly? Am I not doing the right thing? Which is why I say close akin is that self-confidence. It is,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and then it'll slide a lot of times into what other people might think. Um, it's just a myriad of reasons, but the main one is that fear. Is the fear. And then we'll use a whole bunch of different ways to say it. I'm not clear, or I'm trying to get it right, or I'm still working on it, or God hasn't called me to do it just yet. We use a whole bunch of ways to say it, but it's fear when it comes down
mm-hmm.
to it. Yeah.
That is so interesting because I used to not want to do a lot of things because until I knew it was exactly what I was supposed to be doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would want to get like validation and
Yeah.
then confirmation and then confirmation on a confirmation. And
Right. Right.
before, because I was like, it's gotta be right. Like I gotta be doing the right thing, Lord. Like I want to please you. And I had to come to a place, and I'm also by nature like really a planner.
Mm-hmm.
And and I had to come to the understanding too that I was really trying to control a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not like my husband be like, can you let go of the control? But I had to realize I was even doing that with myself. Like I wanted to control like, I wanted to know what was going to happen. I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
the uncertain space. I needed to know the final outcome, like is this definitely going to work?
Mm-hmm.
And what God has been doing for me is stretching my faith, which really is my trust and my ability to believe that he has got me.
Yeah.
And when I took this journey, I was just like, I believe that you have me. If I fall, you still got
Right.
me.
Right.
Like at the
Right.
end of the day.
Right. Right.
So I think I would have to agree. I think that it really does all boil down, even control boils down to
Yes.
fear, you know?
Exactly.
So that is definitely true.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the control, and I try to think about it. The way that he speaks to me, is a lot like how Christ spoke in the Bible where he would have a parable. And so for me, a lot of times how he speaks to me, and I'm like, this makes sense, Lord. Like he'll show me um, something that we see all the time. So for me, the way that I look at it as think about it when you have kids and they're trying to explore and they're trying to find what it is that they're supposed to do and what it is that they're interested in. And so what do you do as a parent? You just say, let's just try it out. Let's just try as much as we can. Just
Mhm.
try it. Let's see if you like it. Let's see what sticks. Let's see what you're naturally good at. And so it's like that same thing should apply to us. Try it.
Yes, yes.
You'll know what you start trying.
You will definitely, one thing begets the next, and then the next, and then the next. But it's just like that non-movement keeps you in
Yeah,
that space of like uncertainty
yeah,
because you're not even moving. Yeah.
Which is why, like, the biggest lesson that I'm teaching my son, and I love the fact that he's fallen in love with Magic School Bus. If anybody is familiar with Magic School Bus, like, it's a word and just a song. Just let it bless your life. But it's like, it says, take chances, get messy, make mistakes. Like, that's the whole core of
Mm.
every single episode, because it's in the song. And that she says it every time that they go off and do something. Like, the kids are like, well, they're just like us. The kids are like, well, I don't know. And she's like, well, take chances, get messy, make mistakes. If we can all just get there, just take
Right.
the chance, get messy, make the mistake. Because whatever happens, you're still going to learn.
So true. So true. And I think also for me, I really did not want to live a life full of regrets,
Mm,
right? To like look back and just wish that I had done certain things and stepped out. And I had to get to the point where I'm like, well, when are you going to do it?
right.
Because like time is a ticking, and when are you going to do it?
Yeah,
When
right.
exactly are you going to step out and take this risk?
Right.
And so that brings me to another question. What was it that I guess helped you realize that this was a part of your purpose and your call to do this?
So quite honestly, the same steps that I take for my clients, the reason why I know to take them through those same steps is because I had to do it myself. And so, what helped me align with what I am doing now is I did get really clear on who I am. And, I took the time and I meditated on and took note of things I just automatically wanted to do, that I just do without anybody asking me. Since I was little, I've always wanted to teach. So I still believe like that teaching spirit, because that, the Bible says that, the spirit, there's different things, prophecy, teaching. And so that is one thing that I really do believe he blessed me with, was a gift of teaching. And so for me, what we know as teaching is traditional classroom. And so that's what I did. I went for the classroom. And I taught high school for 5 years. I loved it, actually. Like, people are like, what? So when, people are no longer doing the profession, they just automatically assume that you didn't like it. Like, I actually love teaching. Um, the transition out was not a planned transition out. It was more so, okay, pause. I'm in grad school. I'll be back, y'all, because I'm in school so I can become a principal. So, and I'll be back and we're gonna do our thing. And while I was out, I just felt, again, that filler. I just felt like I didn't feel called back. Like, it was like, I'm not missing, as much as I love it, like, I'm not missing the, like, and I pay attention to how I'm feeling. And so it was like, okay, uh, let me end this program. So we can save these coins. and let me end this master's program, because I'm just not feeling the call back. So I end the program. And so, I'm in this space of just going from what seemingly felt like disjointed career paths. So you go from teaching, and then I ended up, the way that even helped me get out was I was like a yearbook advisor. So the yearbook company had like offered me a job. They're like, okay, if you're gonna be in school, you can work for us while you're there. Da, da, da. So it was like match made in heaven, but that wasn't all the way working out like how it was supposed to. But it's still fine, because I still got paid, and it allowed me a whole lot of time with me and Jesus, really. And then from there, I found myself as an investment advisor. So it's like, huh, Lord, I was just teaching reading and English in your book. How we over here with all this math and these numbers? Be God. I don't do this. But I still felt that pull to go. And so in me being there, it actually helped me get to know myself even more, because gifts that I had overlooked as a teacher, that just, again, because I'm a teacher at heart, they came naturally to me. Things that I just took initiative on, I just did it because that's what I do. That's who I am to my core. And so now that I'm in the corporate environment and utilizing those gifts, just like how I did at school, you take initiative, you do these things, I just saw it as I saw other teachers like me, not all of them, no, but I just felt like, the ones who have the gift to really teach and really care about these kids do what I do. So this is what we do. So then in corporate America now doing these things and seeing that, no, this is not just something that everybody does. Like, hold up, so now I'm beginning to appreciate even the more and seeing really how I differentiate myself between everybody next to me.
Right.
And begin to really hone in on those strengths, on those gifts. And so when it came time for us to move from Florida to North Carolina, there was this kind of cataclysmic eruption where it was like, I cannot stay in like this. I just feel like, Lord, my heart and my spirit, like everything within me is saying, like, do not move to North Carolina and go into a job, especially in the same similar space. And so that opened up some free time again
You
for,
and Jesus.
me and Jesus, to really get, crystal clear about who I am. And, that allowed me time to figure out, like, what is it that I need to not just survive, but be able to thrive, being able to address limiting beliefs and limiting mindsets. And so once I did all that stuff, then I was able to then come down to the only thing I could think of, Lord, is you calling me to be a life coach. And I really don't want to be no life coach. I don't. Like for me, the
You sound
title,
like me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the title life coach to me just came to me like fluff almost, like who wants this and who desires this, like, you don't want me back in the classroom? Because everybody understands what a teacher is. And I understand what a teacher is,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, you've been doing this. You've been doing this, in my old job. Just to give you guys hints as far as coaching people, I've been doing this without training, this is in me. So in my last job, like before I went to go into sales and I was in customer service, nobody asking me. I went to my manager and I said, hey, I'm about to leave. I know I'm the leader. I know, people lean on me. So in order, again, me noticing this. So before I leave, I want to make sure the team is stronger. We've got some new people here. What I want to do is, can you give me some time to sit with these people one-on-one? I want them to tell me what they're looking to do within the company, and then I can help guide them to what they need to do next. Cool. She was like, sure. I done sent these people emails, gave them homework. We're going to line up a date. When we meet, I want you to have X, Y, and Z, have thought about this. Okay, we met. Okay, here's your homework to continue on and move forward. Like, I've been.
Exactly what you're doing now, right?
Exactly what I'm doing now. Same thing I do with I did it the same thing with my younger brother. Tools I use now that I've tweaked, I sent this tool years ago to my younger brother when he was trying to like figure out what he wanted to do, like, and give him a plan and like a template. Like that is a part of me. He gives me strategy. He helps me with the tools to be able to make it make sense and to put it down on like, okay, this is how you systematize this. Like I learned that that's who he made. So it was like no other place. And then I fought the financial piece. God, I don't want to be no financial coach. Oh, I don't. I think it's very important. I do. I know it's important. I know it is needed, but I don't want to do this. And so going back to where you said, like, if you feel like this is just really what you want to do and you're like all gung-ho for it, 9.99999% out of 10, like that is you. That is what you want to do.
Right.
All you. But if you're going into a space and a place that it feels right, and it feels like this is me, however, I don't want to do this, it don't make sense, it's probably God. Because he's a God who's not stuck in a box. And who would have known that he would have taken my skills as teaching and that experience in the investment advising world and all of those experiences and brought them together into me doing what I'm doing now. You could not have told me that
Right.
ever.
Girl, you sit up here speaking to me because I sure be like, I do not like doing this. And every time, and you know what? I'm straight convicted every time I say it because people be like, why? Why? And as they're saying why, I'm thinking, well, this is what you're actually doing. Like this is what
Mhm.
you do. You are coaching people like all the time, like whether it's through the podcast, whether it's like one-on-one, but you're still doing it. And so, but in my mind, I'm kind of like, I really don't like that because what if they don't do? It's like my thing. I'm gonna be transparent moment. I
Yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah.
like, what if they don't do what I've advised them on? Like, I think where my level of frustration lies is when I see so much potential. Like, I see so many ways that you could be moving, and then you choose not to, right? And so that leaves me feeling some kind of way. And
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the feeling. Like, I don't want to feel that kind of way. I just want to be over here speaking to the mass people because then I don't have to take
Mm-hmm.
like a personal
Yeah,
um attachment, to it.
yeah.
But God's like, stop telling me what you don't want to do, right?
Yeah. When I tell you, I 100% know exactly what you mean by what you say. This is what helped me through this process, honestly, was therapy. And I'm gonna tell you something that was
Mm,
eye-opening for me in one of my therapy sessions, which has helped me like in every aspect. Like not it helps me be a better coach, a better parent, friend, like literally. And so God, the way He crafted you and I, the gifts that we have in this coaching is that, our hearts, we see the potential of people even when they don't see it. It's like you see it clear as day. Like,
it's like, let's
girl,
do this. Let
it's
like
it
right here.
clear as day, right? That is a gift from God. Something else that I have to like accept because it's so ingrained. It's like it's so clear. But when I start talking, people are like, "You see all that? You really know?" And I'm like, "I see." But like you mentioned, it's like you see all this potential in people. And then when they don't live up to that potential that you so clearly see, it's frustrating. It's grieving, it's like, oh my goodness. And so the thing that I learned in my therapy session, because I was going through a little rant of a personal, family member that, where I get this way. And I wasn't even talking about coaching or none of it. It was just somebody else. And when she said this, like it, I had to really sit in it. I had to journal everything because it was like eye opening. And basically, she just literally told me that the reason why is because, and you said it, I'm uncomfortable.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And so, because I am uncomfortable and I don't want to sit in my discomfort, I now want to try to push you towards this vision, this potential that I clearly see.
Mm.
And so what it did for me is it flipped it. It flipped it from I'm trying to push you because I care about you. And it flipped it to no, I'm trying to push you because I'm uncomfortable.
Wow.
And so it wasn't about you that I was pushing you. It was about
It
me.
was my excuse.
It was about me. It was about
Wow.
me and myself.
Hmm.
And I was making it about you and girl, don't you see? And you try to push people, you try to push folks, you try to pull them and prod them. And so when I tell you, once I really sat in that and I really, like I said, I journal all the, like it allowed me, not to say that I don't fall sometimes, because I don't say that I'm perfect because I still fall, but at least I know what it is and I'm able to speak to it. And like I can check myself a lot easier now, is that now I allow the process, as much as I preach process, now I'm able to really just sit and lean back and allow process to occur.
Wow. Wow. That is so good. And I think that is so good because, girl, this podcast for me. So I was just talking to my husband the other day, and I'm like, I think I'm going to like I'm all for therapy. We've been in therapy as a family. We have a big family, and but I've never. And I said to him, I said, I've never had individual therapy. Like when I think about it, like I talk about therapy all the time. We've been in therapy sessions and even like couple,
Yeah.
therapy, but
Yeah.
I've never really had individual therapy. And I was like, I think that I want to do that because as you grow in purpose, right?
Yeah.
And you're growing and evolving, even like spiritually and just as a person, you begin to identify things that you can do better
Mm-hmm.
and then things that you have to question, why do I do them?
Yeah.
And so this is like, right, confirmation, see, validation, confirmation that it's definitely my next step. And I think that that is something that a lot of people really want to begin to explore, because it will help them like I said, understand the why behind some of the behaviors and some of the mindsets that we take on. Because we're going to need to be able to clear all that stuff out so we can move in what
Yes.
God has really called us to do. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is good.
And I'm sure if I even really sit long enough, because I'm the type of person I like to know the why and the core, like where does it stem from and where does it come from? Like I'm that so now that I have this realization that I'm uncomfortable and this discomfort, if I wanted to really sit in it, I can say, okay, well, God, like, show me, like, where does this really stem from? Like, where's the core? Like, where does this come from? And it always goes back, like, something in childhood,
Always, always.
you know, but in this particular situation, I didn't feel pulled to like really, really delve into like the why, because I have enough whys, some other
Yeah.
stuff. So, but
She's like, just get it together, move
this
on.
right. This is like I know it's me and then my discomfort, and then I have to just allow it to be. And then she even brought to my attention, like, just like before you came to your awakening, and there was a process for you and it took time for you, and then there was a time that you got to that, and so you have to allow that grace to abound in other people. And so hopefully that even helps you as you
Mhm.
move forward into this coaching, because you are me and I am you. um, so if I'm doing it, I think he might be calling you to do it
Well, I
too.
think I'm gonna be in therapy. Because I don't want to get, and I have, I don't know, this podcast is not about me.
Tendency to do this literally every time I have it. I can't help it. This is just a gift, and then this is I ask. I say, Holy Spirit, anything that I do, I need you to be up in it. And so this literally every time I get on the podcast or I talk to somebody, and they're like, "Why are you talking to me?"
Right.
So don't feel as though you're an anomaly. This is Holy Spirit. I'm blaming it on them.
I hear him. Okay. I hear him, but definitely I think it speaks like volumes to like moving to that next space, because like I've been praying about like what is this next space, because like when you were talking about your different journey from like teacher to yearbook to like grad school and then to investment, like recognizing that they're all seasons, right? And when to move. And I definitely know I'm in a season of shifting,
Mhm.
and shifting, I guess, into more specific services or coaching spaces. And just even now getting that deeper understanding how that therapy does play into it. Because you don't want to get into that space and you're not functioning in it the way that he's called you to because
Yeah,
of your own stuff. You know what I
filter.
mean?
Mhm.
And so I think that that's so good when you're thinking, when you're evolving and growing, just being sensitive to the seasons and the direction that God is moving you to. So,
Yeah.
but before we go,
Yeah.
I have two more things for you.
Okay.
Um, I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if we've already covered this or not, but what has, on this purpose journey, what has been one of your greatest challenges and how have you overcame it? Because I feel like a lot of times people are like, yes, I'm ready to get on this journey and like I'm
Mhm.
not gonna have no issues. I'm just going like I'm living, I'm doing whatever you want me to do, Lord.
Mhm.
And what I've come to understand as a part of life and a part of walking in purpose is that there are going to be challenges and there are going to be obstacles, especially when you're doing what God has called you to do. You may even face more things. So I don't want people to be thrown off when they experience those challenges. So I like people to share them so that they know, that they're not alone.
So I would say my biggest challenge, still a lot of times to remind myself, but it's a part of it, is really truly shifting your mindset from scarcity. I don't have, if I had this, I'd be able to, versus abundance. I have all I need to do what He's called me to do. And so for me, the reason why that challenge, at least it seems as though it's so much more glaring, is, as you saw on my website, anybody who sees on my website or, is part of my email list, what have you, I share how at 21, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and, a chronic condition that, they say there's no cure for. And so I'm definitely not where I was, but even still where I am now, like there are still episodes, there's still times, there's still days. So like, I'm not on the 100% that I would love to be. But even without that, I still must have the mindset that I have all I need to do what He's called me to do. I cannot say, well, if I had a housekeeper, I'd be able to do da da da. Or if, well, if, and I hear different things, especially like if, for my single moms, if I had a husband, but I'm like, but that's another set of issues you add and all, or if, if my kids were older, or if,
Mhm.
and definitely there's a respecting of the seasons, like you mentioned, understanding your season, so that like for me, I have a younger child. So yes, I am a season of movement. Just it's a lot more physical labor on me since he's younger versus, once he's 12 or 13 and he's like, Ma, I want to just be on my phone and I don't bother me. And so it's either I can be so stuck on, he's 4 and I gotta be, and then I don't have the less physical, like that, the God, I'm fatigued and I gotta still, put the stuff together for the retreat. And I just can't, you can go down that road of scarcity, or you can sit in, well, this is what I do have. Like these 2 fishes and these 4 loaves of bread. What I'm asking you to do, Lord, is make the most of what I have.
Mm, mm.
And that I'd say is the biggest challenge. And that allows you to face any challenge that you have, to be able to just have that mindset of taking it from I don't have or I wish I had, and if this was or shoulda, coulda, woulda, to okay, this is where it is. Help me make the most of what you've given me or what I have now. And
Wow.
when I tell you God breathes on that thing, and you just have to let it be and sit and allow Him to do His thing. You can't push it, make it, all of that. Just let it be. Like, so that's the biggest challenge, is keeping that mindset of allow me to make the most of today. Because I even used to say all the time, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, And so I've even grown to try to take that out of my vocabulary altogether. I'd say I'm at a 90% now. Still aren't there all the way there, but when I feel that way, instead of saying I'm tired, I'm trying to make the most of today. I'm trying to make the most of right now. Like I'm trying to, and I don't always feel that way, but if I'm gonna keep saying it, and then my mind shifts. Okay, so what can you do? What can, and it begins to now problem solve. So
Right. That is so important. That is so important. And I think that that is a great perspective to have on it because it's so easy. I know for me, I can definitely feel like I'm not doing enough, right? Or feel like, I might be in a different season where I have to be more focused on my marriage or more
Yeah,
focused on my family and more
yeah,
focused on something other than this business or building, this brand. And then you're feeling like, because I think too, because the world pulls from you. Like, why you don't have this? Why you not doing this? Why you not here? Didn't you see this post? Didn't you see this thing? Why you not doing that? And so you can get really caught up in feeling like you're not doing enough. But I love that concept of don't focus on the scarcity, but focus on what you do have and allowing God to do what he's going to do with what you have. So that's excellent. I love that. I'm a Ramama. I'm gonna write that down.
yeah.
With
You know,
that,
I have
put it
posted
on my desk.
because I have a lot of different post-its and stuff, and that's one of them. Like I have all that I need.
I have all that I need. I'm writing that down now because it's so easy to forget. It's so easy. So, Victoria, can you please let everyone know how they can get in contact with you, the different like services that you offer?
Yeah, so I offer one-on-one services, and then I also offer group coaching within my mastermind, which is a 6 months. I only do it once a year, and that's actually about to open this October. And so applications to get on the wait list for that is about to open. But as far as staying in my world, even if you don't do paid services, my prayer is always that I just serve and then I can help and impact in whatever way I can. And so if you can meet me, I'm mainly on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, but if you want to really talk to me, it's on Instagram. Unless on Facebook, you okay with me responding in a few days. But it's still under the same handle, which is the Victoria Danielle. So that's Victoria Danielle, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook. And then you can go to my website. It's the same thing, thevictoriadanielle.com. And then you can go and, look and see if there's some testimonials that align with you. Look and see, my store, whatever. And try me and see,
Step out on the water. So.
see if I can, will be any good for you. I hope that I am, that there's some value there. But that's how you can find me.
Thank you so much for being a part of Tisha Talks Topics. This was a great conversation, and I really believe that people are going to be encouraged and learn from this and be able to utilize some of the tips and some of the things that you talked about in their now, like in their present time. And so thank you so much for being a part of this episode.
My pleasure.